meeting. I believe we also have Nayanthara with us. Let me just check on that. And if we do, then let's also go across to her. Yep, Nayanthara.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a treat for you with IPL 13 round the corner. We get to the first interview with the CEO of Delhi Capitals, Dheeraj Malhotra, who's joining us live right here on ET Now. Dheeraj, thank you so much for your time for this interview. I'm going to begin by first asking that do you think Delhi Capitals, owned by JSW, will do in IPL 13 what it's not been able to do till now, and that is win an IPL? Will IPL 13 turn out to be lucky for Delhi Capitals? If I could draw an analogy, Chelsea never won an English Premier League, but it did it in the 13th year.
Thank you, Nanta. Well, we are hopeful. We are very hopeful that we can break the jinx. We owned by JSW and GMR, just a co-owned team. We have a very young team, very well-balanced team. We have a good mix of youth and experience. We've concentrated on our core players, our Indians. We've concentrated a lot on the Indian strength. So we're hoping that this year we could be a year. We did feel that last year would have also been a year, but last year we qualified, which was an achievement in itself. And we're just hoping that we can take one step forward. Either win or at least make the finals, because we've never played the finals. So that is what the target is. And the number 13 might just be lucky for us.
The fans are, of course, waiting. The fans are, of course, waiting for IPL 13. We've all been starved of live action. Football, of course, had come in earlier. But, you know, Dheeraj, you're saying you have a mix of youth and experienced players. But you've got more younger players, and that's a gamble that Delhi Capitals decided to take earlier itself. You don't have the big hitters that the other teams do. How will that pan out according to you in the new venue at UAE?
I said we again a very heavy batting side. So I'm hoping that we don't need to. I mean, if we can keep chipping away and if we can start scoring at a high rate, I don't think we need the big hitters. But having said that, we do have some guys who can clear the boundary. We have Rishabh Pant, who is a pretty big hitter. You have Stoinis, you have Hetmeyer. We have some useful middle order all-rounders in Ashwin and Akshar Patel. So, I mean, and Shreyas hit one of the longest sixes last year in the tour when he played for India. So we're hoping that they'll all come good. We're hoping they all gel together. The challenge right now is nobody's played cricket for 5-6 months. So right now is to get them into the groove of playing cricket, get them into the groove of gelling together.
Yeah.
So that's the target for the next week or two before the tournament starts.
Okay, so the assistant coach, Mohammad Kaif, is with the team at the UAE. Your team has landed. They are in quarantine as mandated for 7 days. But Dheeraj, you know, Delhi Capitals, if I'm not wrong, turned out to be the last team to land in UAE, and therefore it's going to be the last one to also end the quarantine. And therefore, isn't that going to be a bigger challenge, something you talked about? Lesser time to get the team bonding, the chemistry going?
So Nanta, again, this was a calculated risk that we took because we don't want to also train too hard. You have 19-20 days of training. See, what happens in a regular season is that all our players who are playing international cricket are still playing some form of cricket. So by the time they join the team, it's only about 6 or 7 days before the tournament starts. It's the first time that we've had the team for as long as we've had them for. And you don't want them to... Dubai is still quite hot. It's still, the temperatures are not very favorable. So we don't want to burn out our team too early. So we want to also stagger the sessions that we have, stagger the training sessions that we have. And that's why we spoke to the coaches. Ponting, the chief coach, joins us tomorrow. We spoke to everybody and we decided that we'll try to break down our workout so that we're not there too early and also gives the boys enough time to rest as well in between. So, and the only difference between us and the other teams are 2 days. So it's not that much of a difference.
Okay, that's breaking news you're giving us that Ricky Ponting is indeed going to be with the Delhi Capitals, flying in from Australia and landing there quite soon. But Dheeraj, you know what is different also? You're saying you don't want the team to burn out. Is the longest you've had them together. Of course, 7 days will be in a hotel room in isolation. But this is also the longest gap that any cricketer would have had for not playing cricket, right? So the question I want to ask is that the level of cricket that we're going to see in IPL 13, is that going to take a knock simply because, you know, the cricketers are not informed, they've not been playing?
I hope not. I mean, that's a tricky one because any sport, you have to, the only way you keep getting better is if you are in touch and if you keep practicing. And you do lose a little if you're not practicing. But we're hoping 20 days, they're all professionals. We're all, in fact, every team is also carrying net bowlers from India. So the caliber of the net bowlers are quite high. The players are, I mean, since they've rested, they're also energized, they're ready to go. So I'm hoping that these guys get their nick sooner rather than later. But that's a question you'll get an answer to on the 19th when the first match starts. But I personally feel that I don't think it'll be affected that much. I think the players will come back to what their levels and IPL will be as entertaining as always.
Dheeraj, give our viewers a sense, you know, with the cricketers locked up in isolation in Dubai, how are they spending their time? Has Ricky Ponting given them workouts to do in their room? What are they doing?
So we've got, I mean, we plan to have Zoom calls starting today, every evening, just talk with the team, just have fun sessions, nothing serious, just getting to know what they're doing. We put, as every team, we've got some weights in everyone's room, so they're, depending on which player has asked for what, someone has dumbbells, someone has the barbell, someone has asked for a treadmill, someone has asked for cycles in the room. So we've given them all that for 7 days. Luckily for us, we still, our hotel has every room has a balcony, so we sit out and, you know, at least to get the view of the Burj and the fountains. And we're just keeping them motivated. We're talking to each other. We form groups. We keep sending jokes. We keep laughing, and we're just trying to gel really well together. For me, I mean, for us, I think it's the family that we've created, and that's coming out really strong right now in the isolation as well. And the amount of testings we have. I mean, we did 3 tests before we left India. We had a test at the airport as soon as we landed. We had a test yesterday, and now we have a test day after. And after the result of the day after's test is when we can start going out and meeting each other. As in our bubble. We still can't meet people from outside, but at least the team can start meeting together, and then we can start our planned activities. Training, gym sessions, meetings, and I mean, generally just be together and be there for each other.
You know, it is the Indian Premier League, and at a time when the world is starved of live sports, the 13th edition is not taking place in India. It has to be in Dubai. So, you know, talk to us, Indian viewers. You know, tell us what's happening. Are all the cricketers from most of the IPL teams in pretty much the same hotels, or has every team got its own hotel? Because that would also help in camaraderie, you know.
No, so this time the BCCI guidelines were that every team stays in a different hotel because you don't want to risk it. See, what's happening is we've all taken, so everyone's either at a resort or we have these big hotels where you can actually block a wing. So where we are staying, if there's 2 wings, it's east and west. We block the complete west wing. Even though there are 200, 225 rooms, every room will either be taken by a DC player or a DC official or will be empty. Then we've got, you need to have dedicated swimming pools, dedicated gymnasiums, which no one else can use. So it's just, that's why it's easier that you have separate hotels.
Yeah.
We've already had one long call yesterday, day before yesterday with BCCI, where everybody got on. So you had a Zoom call with about 600 people, players, management, some owners were there as well, and giving us all the protocols. Things are falling into place. As far as Indian viewers are concerned, even if it had happened in India, it would be behind closed doors. So you'll watch it on TV any which way. And thanks to it being in Dubai, you'll be watching it at the same time, same time zone as that. And, you know, literally the same time as you would have watched it if it was back in India. So there's not a loss to anybody right now. You'll still get to see everything the same way as you did. Yes, the stadiums would be empty. Yes, the cheering would be the same. The loud wouldn't be the loud noise and the, you know, the boost energy that you get when you're playing at home. All that would be different, but hey, I mean, that's the need of the hour, I guess.
Are there going to be cheerleaders at these IPL matches, the ones we've all gotten used to, the music,
No,
all of that? Trying to get a sense of what the atmosphere is going to be like, even though the stadiums will be empty.
Yeah, so unfortunately there'll be no cheerleaders because there's no one to cheer. But what the talks of having giant LED screens, and they're trying to see if we can integrate various fans onto those giant LED. So instead of people, you'll have LED screens, so you'll have more technology. There are talks of maybe having the recorded, pre-recorded cheering noises and all that. So there are all talks of that. We'll have a clearer picture by next week once IPL has decided how they want to go about it. But yes, the loss of people, I mean, having a fan in the stadium, cheering every ball, cheering a wicket, cheering a 4 and a 6, and that's just a different feeling. That'll be really tough on the cricketers, especially Indian cricketers. They've never played, all the big guys, they've never played in an empty stadium ever. I mean, when you tour abroad, they're still not as fanatic with the fans as they're here. So that'll be something new. But I mean, we've been talking to everybody; they're all aware of it, so they all know what to expect. But when it actually happens, it'll be surreal. It'll be something we'll have to see how the fans and how the players will face the.
Yeah, it is going to be surreal.
Yeah, maybe they'll concentrate more. I don't know, but I'm just trying to be as positive.
It's certainly going to be surreal, Dheeraj. Now, last year you had very famously said, Dheeraj, and I'm going to quote you here, cricket is recession-proof. Of course, that was pre-COVID. Do you still stand by that statement? Is cricket still indeed recession-proof?
Well, there are losses. I'm not saying that it's the same scale as it was, but look at it. One of the greatest cricket tournaments, which is the IPL, will be on in another 20-25 days at its same sheen. Yes, a lot of sponsors are pulled out. Yes, some sponsors are getting, obviously we had to give them a lot of rebates because obviously we're not able to give the deliverables that we promised, as per, which is, tickets, hospitality, look and feel, being physically present for tosses and man of the match awards and other such stuff. So, but having said all that, when you watch the match on TV, it'll feel like it's the same as any other IPL. It's not lost its sheen. The TV production, there'll be no shortage. The players, when it comes to the players' facilities, we are doing everything that we can. It's back to as it was. We're not cutting costs. No team, not just us. No team is cutting costs when it comes to what the players need, what the team needs. We are in Dubai. We are all staying in these fancy hotels. Just so that everyone's comfortable because it's for 80 days. Every training gear, every equipment that was needed has been either bought or carried. So you'll find that there's no shortage. Whereas any other industry, you would still be curtailing costs, cutting corners, where it's not happening in IPL. So I still think I'll stand by my statement that it is kind of recession-proof because it's still going on. I mean, the youth salaries of the players, the bonus incentives, everything, the TV rights, everything is the same. I mean, yes, it made a difference, but not that much. I mean, you could look at it. There are two ways of looking at it. One is saying that you're making huge losses.
But where it is going to make a difference, Dheeraj. Now, Dheeraj, where it's going to make a difference, and if the IPL was happening at home under normal circumstances, all of you have an away match, you have a home match. So, for example, your home is the Firozshah Kotla, now called the Arun Jaitley Stadium. You're going to lose out on ticketing revenue. Do you have in-stadium revenue that you're going to lose out on? Advertising. How is that going to be made up for in IPL 13? Are you in conversation with the BCCI? Is anything being discussed on that front?
Yeah, so all the teams are together speaking to BCCI. So we're still waiting for answers. We're in touch with them regularly. They're also giving us solutions. But Nantara, I mean, again, as I said, there are two ways of looking at it. I mean, if an IPL happens at its full grandeur and everything as normal, you make X amount of money, right? Financially. If it happens in the COVID time, you make X minus some Y. But that X minus Y is still profitable. Vis-a-vis not happening. Vis-a-vis so many other things which are not happening in the country today. So having said that, at the end of the day, you're still profitable and you're still making money. But apart from just making money, you're entertaining people and, because I've been speaking to people and I've been getting posts on various things where people telling me, just seeing the team arrive, seeing videos of the team being there, and it just makes people believe that things are getting back to normal. There's optimism, there's hope, and that's what sport does for you. So, I mean, that's the bigger picture. But financially, yes, teams are losing out, but they're still making money. So it's not like we are in the red. We are still profitable. Might not be to the extent that we were, but every team will still be profitable.
Have you had to perhaps cut down on what you're getting from sponsors? Have they been having those conversations with the IPL team, saying that, hey, this has happened, so I'm not going to pay as much as had been contracted? Has that been reworked?
Yes, it has. All our sponsors have reworked. We've got some sponsors have also taken a pause, saying that, look, this year we cannot partner with you because a lot of people, if you look at brands like beer, air conditioners, cola brands, they're more into summer. They promote their brand in the summer. And with this happening October, November, December, it doesn't make sense to promote things for the summer. So a lot of them have said, look, we want a 1 year stopgap. And so we've got, as I said, we have a few sponsors who've changed, but we did get new sponsors. We've understood, if you look at a contract, a typical contract, a franchise has it, we give every sponsor, we give them tickets, hospitality tickets, you give them meet and greet. Another thing you give them is you give them their stall in the stadium, which means 35,000 people every game touch and feel their product, whatever that is, right? So that all this is a loss. Plus, they get either their dealers or themselves, they get to be at the podium, they get to give a man of the match award, they go for the toin cost. So all this is all value added stuff which we're not able to do this time. So based on that, we worked on a certain formula and we've given between 10 to 15% discount to all our sponsors. And those who've asked for a pause, we've understood it's been a nice handshake, no ill feeling, and we've gone and replaced them with new sponsors. And next year we'll see if they want to come back or we'll continue with these.
Because the fact that your co-owner JSW came on as a principal sponsor, I don't know if they'd want to double down on Delhi Capitals, or was it simply because, the market is bad, everybody's cutting down on marketing spends, advertising spends, and the traditional advertisers have moved out, which we saw in the World Cup itself. It's basically the startups and the new age unicorns which have been advertising a lot more on cricket. We're running out of time, so what I also want to get a sense from you is there have been unconfirmed reports that as the IPL progresses, you may start seeing spectators in the stadiums, albeit with social distancing. Is that correct? Are the team owners having this conversation with the BCCI? Is it going to happen at all, or is it completely ruled out?
No, it's not ruled out. What we've been told is that September definitely behind closed doors. October, depending on how the UAE government takes a call, could be 30 to 40% stadium capacity, again on social distancing. Going to the point of JSW, it's a really nice question you asked and answer. When Daikin had to pull out because of air conditioners and summer branding, we had the option of going to the market, but the JSW, at least Mr. Pa Jindal and Mr. Sajjan Jindal, they felt that this will be the most watched IPL ever. There's no competition, there's no movies, there's no television, new soaps being released. So it'll just be IPL and the whole country, rather the whole world will be watching it. So they said it'll be a great boost for their brand. And we were in the market, whatever price we were getting in the market, they matched the price. So it's not like we've given them a discount or something because they are our owners, but they match the market value. And they feel that it's good for their brand, and this year would be different.
But okay, Dheeraj, before I let you go, you've given us a sense of the business and how it's going to work out. I've got to ask you this one question because it was all in the news yesterday. Usain Bolt testing positive. He partied with Chris Gayle. Everybody was wondering what's going to happen to the RCB. Then, you've had Virat Kohli, the Indian skipper, saying one mistake and it can go completely wrong. How responsible are all the players being? How responsible are the owners being? How responsible is the BCCI being? Absolutely right. Just one mistake and can all go wrong.
Yeah, exactly. One mistake and you don't want to be the person who brings the tournament down. So if you are the one person who's, because of whose mistake or because of whose error of judgment, someone else it spreads, then you are the person who's brought the tournament down. Everyone's aware of that. As I said, we had a call for the first time where there were every player and every management, some owners, everybody was there with BCCI. They told us how seriously they're taking the situation. They've had various companies that people are monitoring our movements. Everything is being monitored. Everything is being in control.